Evolve, welcome to the channel. I am so excited you are here. I want to start off by asking you, can anybody speak?
Can anybody speak? Well,
Mhm.
I would say yes if you have a voice, Sabah. You have a voice, and if you have a lived experience, which means you were born and you're not dead yet, you've got a story to tell. So, yes, I do firmly believe that anyone can speak, but most of the time, it's really the question of do you want to speak? And what do
Ooh,
you want to speak about? What
yeah.
stories do you want to tell that are going to change the world?
Yeah, let's run with that. So let's say, because I know there's a lot of people who they want to be speakers. Maybe they've attended conferences and they're like, wow, that seems so empowering. Like they probably have speakers that they look up to. Maybe it's you, right? Like what would you say to somebody who is in the really beginning stages, but they honestly don't have like they don't know what to speak about? Would you have them start just talking about like their story? Like what are kind of like the guiding steps you would tell that person?
Yeah, storytelling is such a powerful tool, but I find that the most powerful and poignant and stories that really stick with an audience are the stories that you've been telling your whole life, right? So
Mhm.
usually what I have my clients do is start with the story bank. What are the stories that are most important through some of the trials, tribulations, challenges, and celebrations in your life? And how do we make those a part of solving a problem? Because really
Mm,
that's what we are as business owners. If you learn how to solve problems as a speaker, then you probably can sell anything from the stage. So, what problems did these solve for you? Let's backtrack maybe 3 to 5 years, especially in your professional journey. Those are probably problems that the industry you're a part of are still dealing with right now.
right.
Take those stories, package them into a framework, and next thing you know, you're speaking on stages and being considered an expert. But really, it's about what are the trends and stories you've been telling your whole life. So, one
Mm.
for me, right, is consistently this story of finding my freedom in different forms of my life, whether that was coming out as LGBT, going to a historically Black college that was all the way across the country from Los Angeles. It's always a moment of transition and freedom. So, a lot of times I end up talking to people about how do you transition from a 9 to 5 to being an entrepreneur? How do
Mhm.
you transition from being an entry level employee or an intern to actually being a leader? Because all of those moments have transitions of trials and tribulations that I've made it through. So I'm speaking
Mm.
about my resilience. I'm
Right.
telling those stories, but people can relate and then they can take the tools to become, better leaders in their lives.
Yeah. That's a great way you put it. Like building that connection, taking lessons from your own story. So people that are listening to you in the audience, they can make those connections, they can take those lessons and of course implement it for themselves. So aside from the story, aside from the framework, what would you say beginner speakers need to have like almost prepped or ready before they either start getting paid to speak or even speaking for free? Is there like a speaker like framework? Or I know like people have like media kits, all of that stuff. Like what do they need before they start?
I'm really about starting with a little bit and making a lot. So as long as you have a bank account, someone can pay you to speak, to be honest with you. And it's
Yeah.
it's funny. I was having a call with one of my coaches and she was telling me how her school asked her to come and speak, her college that she went
Mm.
to. She was like, "Sure, I'll come. I want to give back time." She went, she spoke. She did it end up filling out some tax information for payment, but she thought like, "Oh, this is just because I'm a volunteer." She didn't think they were paying her. Ends up they sent her $1,000 2 weeks later, and she
Wow.
didn't even ask for payment. Right. So people have a budget and they want to pay speakers.
Mm.
Really, it's about you knowing that this is a business and setting yourself up properly. So, three things that you need to get started. One, you should have a signature talk, something that you are shopping around. And I kind of call it your Beyonce method. Right. So,
Oh, I love
Beyonce
that.
so Beyonce gave us the Lemonade album, which is one of my favorites, right? But
Mhm.
when she went to Los Angeles and she came to Florida and she went to Amsterdam, we all got the same show, y'all. Now I know y'all probably think like Beyonce blew you a kiss and you are her favorite person in the beehive, but honestly, she gave us all the same show, and that's your
Mhm.
signature talk.
Mm.
Really, what you're doing is you're shopping that around to different audiences so you become more confident and more comfortable. So you want to have that. The second thing is that you want to have a framework to be able to charge. So what's your pricing? Because
Mm.
if not, you'll get in the room where it happens and you'll play the budget hopscotch is what I call it. Well, how much do you have? Well, how much do you have?
Mm.
When you
Yeah.
should already know what's your level, what's your bottom before you get on the call, and maybe what's their budget. That's what I call setting up your Calendly with appropriate questions for the application. So I'll give a pro tip. Two things I always ask for: when do you want me to speak on my Calendly? And the second thing is, what is your budget? But instead of leaving that open, I only give them a sliding scale. So
Gotcha.
maybe
Yeah.
it's 500 to 1,000,
Mm. Mhm.
2,000 to 5,000. So they have to select something before we even talk about me coming in to
Smart.
speak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Be smart about
Smart.
your time. And then the third thing is a media asset would be great, but it doesn't have to be the traditional form. I actually
Mhm.
think going a little bit left and having a YouTube channel where you've already shared your story could be really powerful as a portfolio. Maybe having a list of Spotify interviews that you've done podcasts with. As long as they're able to hear your voice, that's what's important. And those are things that we can create pretty easily for free without charging people, right? Like,
Right.
oh, now I got to pay for a media kit. Now I got to pay for an extensive speakers reel. You
Yeah.
can get that started today. So I always like to say, like, let's start from what we have and just really honestly say to ourselves, this is a business, and you'll
Mhm.
get your first paid speaking opportunity.
Yeah. I love that you say this is a business. It's not like you're just going out there and speaking, right?
Exactly.
Especially if you want this to be your full-time career, because I know a lot of people want to do this full-time, right? They want to travel all around, they want to meet a lot of people, they want to share their story. But of course, if you're not setting yourself up as a real business owner, then of course it's not going to happen, right? So walk us through. Well, first of all, I have a lot of questions, but first of all, can someone get a paid speaking engagement if they've never spoken before? Because I know a lot of people probably have this question like, should people first speak for free or should they just go right into trying to get paid to speak?
I think that if you have experience in a corporate environment and you've had a job where you've had to do it, you've already spoken for pay before. One of
Mm.
my first
Love
jobs was
that.
actually at Universal Studios. I was a ride operator for the Back
Oh
to
my
the
gosh, I love Universal Studios. That's awesome. I had no idea.
So I was the person at Back to the Future, the ride. I had to say a whole spiel every day. I can't remember it now, to be honest with you, Saba, so I'm not going to try it. But literally, I had to remember a script, speak to people every day, triage, problem solving, people losing their kids. I had
Mm.
plenty of speaking experience. But for me, it didn't connect until someone paid me to be on a panel. And I was like, oh, I can charge for this. But I'd already been doing that for years. So
Yeah.
if you know in your professional journey, you've had to speak, whether that was you're an actor on stage or you were a leader at your corporate company and you had to speak
Mhm.
to your staff in seminars, you've already exchanged money and been paid to speak. So
Mm.
don't go into it as a beginner. Now, if you're fresh out of college and you know that you're just getting started, I say go to some conferences and events, at least get a strong understanding of what you want to speak about,
Yeah.
speak for free. Make sure you get some testimonials and use an amazing tool that I love called Talkadot.
Mm.
I'll leave the link to that into the description with Saba. But with that, you can ask them a bunch of questions about you as a speaker and get feedback on your technique. But also, there's a question planted in there that asks them, hey, would you want to bring so and so in for our audience to get paid? So you'll walk away with a warm list of people who potentially you can work with, but also feedback on your presentation. And that's just going to make you get better. But if you've been
That's
working
amazing.
in any environment, which most of us, I mean, besides techies, most of us have to end up talking if we're working in our 9 to 5s. Then
That's
you
very
already have
true.
the experience and you can start charging, I would say a minimum of $3,000 per speech.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, what would you say, are maybe, I don't know, like the four steps that someone should take to get their first speaking engagement? I guess whether it is free or paid, and where in the process should someone ask for pay too? Because I know you said for you and your Calendly, like you asked that right away. But what are kind of the steps for someone to get their first free or paid speaking engagement?
Yeah. One of the first steps that I always want to tap into is what I call coffee chats. So I
Mm.
have my clients make a list of 10 to 20 people that they know in their current industry that could potentially either pay them to speak or connect them with people who could, right, potentially pay them. Maybe they work at a Microsoft or a Facebook, but they're not necessarily the decision maker. There's
Yep.
still a person there that can potentially have influence and connect you with those folks. So I want to start warm because usually people already have people in their life who want to hear their framework and their story or are connected to a budget. They're just
Mhm.
too afraid to ask. And
Mm.
honestly, if you can start off with those 10 to 20 coffee chats, you're going to be a lot warmer and prepared for the actual conversations with people that you don't know. So that's the first step. Let's start with our warm leads, our warm audience.
Mhm.
Next, I want us to really think about, okay, what problem are you solving? And then which of the industries are you speaking to? Are you speaking to associations, universities, K through 12 education? Are you more of a speaker that wants to speak at nonprofits? From there, we can look out and see.
Quick question
Yeah.
for that. What if you don't know who you wanna speak to, or you do
Mhm.
wanna speak to, like, everybody? Should you, like, niche down in the really beginning and focus on one market to speak
Yes,
to?
you should pick at least 1 to 2 industries.
Okay,
That's it. And then one problem that you're solving. So, for
perfect.
example, I used to do diversity, equity, and inclusion work. I say used to because I haven't really took on a lot of consulting clients this year. I've been mostly
Sure.
focusing on building speaking for profit and helping diverse leaders get on the stage. So for me, I was helping colleges and universities retain their diverse talent by creating more of a culturally aware and inclusive space. I
Mm,
could still take that same work framework and do it in the tech industry because they have gaps in diversity as well. So we find a common problem only to industries because we want to make sure that we're able to see if we're successful and then you get known in that industry, right? So
mhm.
people start to refer you. You know, Sabah was amazing. She should totally come to your networking event that you all have in a couple of months. Sabah was amazing. She would be great for your orientation that you all are having in the fall. But if you don't, then it's going to be hard to get referrals because now you're
Right.
like hopping around to all the different industries.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I love that. I love that. So did you any other steps? So if people want to get their first or their paid speaking engagement.
Definitely. So next we were talking about getting on a stage, right?
Yeah.
Speaking for free, getting that feedback from amazing folks, right?
Yeah.
And taking those testimonials and then getting on calls with people that you don't know as well.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think conferences and events are amazing. And I say conference and events because it could be under conference, summit. It might even be listed as a welcome home event. You know the
Mhm.
language that your industry uses, but you're going to
Right.
go on Google. Google is your best friend, y'all. Or if you want to use one of your favorite AI systems, ChatGPT, whoever it is, go for it. But the question that you want to say is call for speakers, the industry that you speak in. So maybe I would do call for speakers, diversity, equity, and inclusion
Mhm.
2024. It's going to give me a list of conferences and events that I can apply to speak at. Now, normally they want to charge you for it. What you have to be
Mm.
good with is saying, since I'm a speaker, can I get a scholarship or can I get comp to come and speak? Go
Oh,
there,
okay.
perform, kick butt, and you're gonna literally walk away with a list of probably anywhere between 20 to 30 people that you can follow up with.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite strategy because you get the testimonial and the credibility. You get to meet people that you don't know in the industry you want to work in. So you also get to be known. And then you walk away with people that you can practice some of your negotiation skills with.
Yeah, I love that. Is there a specific time frame people should be applying for these speaking engagements? Because I know for me previously when I've done speaking engagements, sometimes events look out, 12 months in advance to find
Yeah.
these speakers. So if someone wants to get their first engagement, of course, this year, they should probably already have applied for some, right?
Yeah. So the great thing is that I look at, of course, the conferences, but you got to think about the cultural events that are happening in the next quarter,
Mm,
right?
okay,
So
yeah.
maybe there's like a national month or things that are happening that's connected to the problem you solve. Like I know there's National Coming Out Day for some of my LGBT speakers there. There's Trans Day of Remembrance that's coming up. People do a lot of things around the holidays. So we also want to look and see because people plan those things last
Yeah,
most of the
yeah,
time, right? They're like, oh,
yeah.
snap, it's next month. What are we going to do? So
Sure,
you
yeah.
bringing up the conversation earlier, you're solving two
Ooh,
problems for them,
that's smart, yeah.
right? You're being the speaker for the moment,
Love
but you're
that.
also like getting something off of their plate. So think about that. But when it comes to conferences, I always say it's like a quarterly game, right? It's usually
Mhm.
people are like maybe 4 to 6 months before the conference, they're looking for the speakers, and that's when the last opportunity is. And then you're going to be turning in your proposal. You're going to hear back midway through there whether you're going to get selected or not. There's a conference called Creating Change, and it's an LGBT conference. It's happening in Las Vegas. They just put out their information in July, which is this month, this is
Yeah.
being recorded, and the event is not until January, right? So that's around the
Gotcha.
time,
Okay.
either 4 to 6 months where you'll see it. And if you miss it, I always say don't give up, write it down, put it on a spreadsheet, and then you just, or add it on your Google Calendar. I'll do that. Like even with creating change, I missed it last year. I said, okay, they drop in July. I put it on July, go back and check on that website so that I can apply to speak there.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, if you miss it this year, there's always next year,
Yeah,
right?
most of them happen every year, so
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
good.
love
Yeah.
that. You briefly mentioned that people can charge, starting off at $3,000. Now, to some people, they're like, "Oh my goodness, that's a lot of money," right?
Yeah.
So, what would you recommend a beginner to start off with for like
I
their
mean,
first paid one? Yeah, what would you say?
I if I could go back to a beginner, I would just start off with the 10 to 15,000, but,
Yeah,
right, I didn't have that confidence at that time.
yeah.
The price is the price, y'all. Like, pricing is such an interesting thing, but most people I know can stomach $3,000 and they get excited about it. But what did I tell you all earlier about my mentor and her amazing story? She went to go speak, y'all, and she didn't even know she was getting a fee, and she got $1,000. That was
Gotcha.
just like easy money for them to give off. So, right, they pay people to
Yeah.
come to church and speak for 500, right? So I think move beyond that, double up. Another strategy that I'll share, Saba, is I always ask for more. So if
Mm,
I know for myself, I want to make $3,000 a month from speaking, I'm not asking for 3,000. I'm probably going to ask for 6,000 because I want to win the negotiation and I want to
right.
work a little bit less.
Yeah.
So I ask for double my bottom to make sure that we meet in somewhere in between. Because most people are not going to say,
Great
"Oh, you asked
strategy.
for six,
Yeah.
here's 1,500." That's not where they're going to go. But if you ask for three, they might try to slide down on you.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. I love that. Smart evolve. I love it. Um,
Definitely.
I want to shift gears just a little bit. I want to talk about, and I'd love to hear your insight about the fears when it comes to speaking, because I know a lot of people, they want to speak, but maybe they have a fear to do so, like getting on stage, everybody's staring at you, having the fear of messing up. What would you tell somebody? And how do you also navigate that when it comes to speaking on stages? How do you kind of, get yourself calm, get yourself in a state to really empower everybody versus kind of just thinking about yourself and, being afraid to actually speak?
Yeah, I have what I call my pre-talk ritual, and it's so important to me because still to this day, I've spoken on hundreds of stages, at graduations, at weddings, at events, right? Speaking in front of hundreds of thousands of people, which is really exciting and always like warms me up. But if I don't have a ritual before, the nerves will overtake and I won't perform well. So for
Mm,
me, I know that my body needs calmness, but also a little bit of energy. So I
mhm.
usually go for a walk. I might do some push-ups to like really bring, the warmth into my body. I always do a prayer before, and I always thank my ancestors because I feel like they're the ones that are giving me my voice to be able to speak. And then I want space to be alone. I grew up as an only child, so having my alone time allows my brain to just calm down.
Yeah,
So I
I
will
feel you on
ask
that.
like event organizers, can I just have at least 5 to 10 minutes to myself before I speak, just so I can calm down and maybe say some mantras, maybe turn on some Beyonce or some Kendrick Lamar, some good
Yes.
music, dance it
Pump
out a
yourself
little
up.
bit, and
Yeah.
really get into it. So I always have my clients create their own pre-talk ritual. We all know what we need to feel good and confident, and we just need to put that in maybe like a 15 to 20-minute ritual to
Mhm.
prepare ourselves. Additionally, you need a post-talk ritual.
Oh,
People don't really think about that.
yeah.
But when you are giving so much to an audience, you're often depleted, right?
Mhm.
So setting yourself up for success, organizations will be like, "We want to take you to dinner afterwards." And sometimes you have to be that speaker when you know that you're going to need that energy to take back to your family or to your next speaking engagement to say, "You know what? I don't normally do dinner, but can we do lunch the day of?" So that you can
Mhm.
have that evening to be able to relax. Maybe make sure you got your favorite bottle of wine or your favorite book, and let your loved ones know like you need some time, some quiet time because you've kind of been around people all day.
Yeah.
Maybe even pop a vitamin C or an elderberry because COVID is, still outside and it's impaired
Yeah.
the immune system. But having that post hoc ritual will help you prepare for the next opportunity.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. This is the first time I've ever heard of that because I've always heard of like what you're supposed to do before, but not after. So that's awesome. I'm so happy you shared that with us. Before we wrap it up, one last thing I want to ask you, which I'm sure a lot of people, especially us entrepreneurs, business owners, are wondering: how do you pitch on stage? Like how do you set yourself up to get clients? Is this something you do at the end? Do you do it all throughout the talk? What's kind of your secret behind that?
Yeah, one to many, as they call it, is my favorite space to be because I think when you get a community together in a space, there's already an intention and an energy that they're going to bring.
Mm.
So here are three steps that I utilize when I'm putting together, my perfect, I guess, show, right? My
Yeah.
perfect show, my Beyonce show for
Yes.
a group. And I'm trying to make sure that we convert maybe new clients at the end or we have new business. One, I'm going to want to bring in the humility in the space, right?
Mm,
Like is the baseline where they can see themselves compared to me? So I'm gonna want to take them on a journey down my story. How did I learn to speak? What I always start off with is telling people I had a speech impediment. Like I
mm,
was not really a person who was comfortable speaking. I had a really bad stutter and lisp, right? So I had a speaker's coach who supported me through that journey. Now, what am I doing there? Yes, I'm telling the story, but I'm also normalizing for the room of people who might be scared or who might have that stutter or might be coming from that same place. And I'm also planting in their brain, I have been coached. So at the end of it,
mm.
when I bring up maybe supporting them and coaching them, they're already bought into the concept and to us working together. So that's one strategy I use.
Love that.
The other one that I love, Saba, and I've seen you use this before, is having the audience commit to saying what I'm saying, right? So I'll
Mm,
say, are we here to create change? Yes or yes? Yes.
mm.
Are we here to make money together? Yes or yes? Yes.
Yeah,
Because the more yeses that I can get from that moment, the more likely you're going to be ready to say yes by the end of this event, by the end of
right.
this webinar. And the third thing that I do that I think that enough entrepreneurs don't really step into is I give a story of transparency of failure. I want them to know that I have failed before and that I wouldn't have had to do it if I would have had systems or strategies that really have shortened time for me. And what I usually compare time to is I tell them it's your most valuable resource, but you give it away like it's nothing. In order for us not to fail, we got to speed our time up. If we can do more here, then we can spend more time doing all of the pleasure things that you want to do. And usually that concept really supports people with thinking to themselves, oh, I need to go on and get this done now. I don't need to wait
Right.
to work with Evolve in like 6 months.
Right.
No, we need to work together now so I can go on a vacation with my family or whoever I want to meet with and spend time with while I'm here on this planet. So those are the three things that I do from stage that I'm willing to share here.
Yeah.
We can have another call because I want to talk about some of your strategies and how I've
Yeah.
seen you kill it as well.
No, honestly, I've loved this interview so much. You gave such tangible, specific, implementable advice. Like everybody who's watching, you guys are gonna be implementing all of this because I'm just blown away of how much I've learned because I've spoken before, but I'm like, I always love to learn more because there's always something I don't know, right? And always
Mhm.
something I can optimize, always something I can make better. So,
Yeah.
Aval, before I ask you my final question, if people want to connect with you, they want to learn from you, they want to work with you, what do you have going on and how can people connect with you?
Yeah, I think the quickest way for us to enjoy working together and collaborate, which is what I call it, is for you to enjoy my amazing community, the Speaking for Profit Circle. Now, what's really cool about the circle is it's on the school platform. And if for anybody who's on school, you already know the platform is gamified. So we give out actually 3 leaderboard gifts a month. One of them is a one-on-one coaching call with me, which will actually be broadcasted on YouTube. So it
Ooh,
allows you to grow your audience and also be in kind of like the hot seat, learn some things from Evolve. The second thing that we always give away is we want to give you an opportunity to take your knowledge to the next level. So we will give you our exclusive highly paid speaker bundle masterclass. That includes how to craft your signature talk, how to get paid to speak at college campuses, and how to put together a 5-figure speaker proposal. And then the third gift for the third prize is a $25 gift card to go shopping and get a professional development book or maybe your next microphone so that you can become a better virtual speaker. But we do that every month and we base that off of your engagement in the group. So if you post every day
Awesome.
and you give us motivational quotes or you share your YouTube video, we want you to promote and really showcase yourself. You're going to be on the top of that leaderboard and you can win a prize. One more thing, there is a course within the community. It's called Crafting Your Signature Talk Mastery. In there, I tell you how to put together the signature talk, how to find conferences and events to speak at, how to figure out what you're going to speak about, what problem you're solving, and how to turn that free engagement into a fee. So it's all there. We got about 240 people in the community right now, and we'll be honored to work with you. It's free. So come through.
Yes, I love that. I love it. Well, I'll make sure to link it in the description. And of course, I'll also link Evolve's YouTube and Instagram and everything else for you to follow Evolve there. So my last question is, Evolve, of course, we've been connected for a while, right? And I
I
have seen you.
know. Almost 4 years now, Saba. Can you
It's
believe that?
crazy. It's crazy. Like I have seen you grow and expand and just like honestly make so much freedom in your life. So my question for you is what makes you unforgettable?
Ah, this is such a great question. Wait, do I have my award? Look
Oh,
at this, Saba.
so the story behind this quickly is Evolve was at my first event that happened last
Yes,
October, and she won the most unforgettable award because
yes,
everyone voted for Evolve to have the most transformational story. So
yes.
Evolve, yeah, what makes you unforgettable?
I think what makes me really unforgettable, Saba, is what people have told me is my ability to be a really great support system for my clients. I over deliver and I'm not afraid to speak up. Those are like some really simple things. Authenticity is so powerful, and I don't think people really believe it. But I show up as my authentic self no matter what the event is. And that's what makes the brand unforgettable. I'm also just not shy about making money. So, I mean,
I
my
love
company's
that.
name is Speaking for Profit, and I'm always trying to secure a bag. So, I think that makes me unforgettable because most people are afraid to say that they want it, and I really do. So, I'm going to be
Uh,
speaking it out
I
as
love
many
that.
times as I can.
I
Definitely.
love that. I love that. Well, Bob, thank you so much for coming on, taking the time. I know so many people got so much value from this. Yeah.
I love that Saba had this award, y'all. And you could cue this up whenever you have your next event. Y'all have to go to this event. I will be there.
Yes.
VIP
Yes.
Saba, like we need our VIP section. So just
I
make sure you
know,
have those
right?
VIP tickets there.
I know. Next time for sure. Um, Evolve, this was awesome. Thanks again for coming on. Any last words to anybody that's watching before we sign off?
You know, if you want to get paid to speak, y'all, join the Speaking for Profit Circle. Come hang out with me. I'm going to teach you how to do it. But
Mhm.
really, what I want you to commit to is understanding that you are going to build a new business that is going to create financial freedom for your family and for your life. If you're watching Saba's channel, I know that you already have the dedication and the energy that you need to make this happen. All you have to do is just commit. Commitment will take you so far. So thank you for watching us. I'll say that as well. And we're here to support you.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Evolve. And to everybody else, I will catch you guys in the next video. And until then, make sure that you stay unforgettable.
Peace.